Buddy, put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
The Michael Dukes Show.
I have 2 guns, one for each of you.
Firearms Friday.
As Thomas Jefferson stated, it is the right and duty of the people to be at all times armed.
Say hello to my little friend.
I say that the Second Amendment is, in order of importance, the First Amendment. The right to keep and bear arms is the one right that allows rights to exist at all.
The Michael Dukes Show. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Not be infringed. Firearms.
From my cold, dead hands.
Friday.
Take my rifle, this is my gun. This is for fighting, this is for fun.
Firearms Friday.
Firearms Friday. Hello and good morning. Welcome back to the program. It is the Michael Dukes Show, broadcasting live across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or translator, and around the world at MichaelDukesShow.com on the internet. Hello, my friends. Hello. It's Friday, which is that one day a week where we get a chance to talk about all the issues that concern you of a Second Amendment nature. That's right. We get a chance to talk about, firearms and gun rights and so much more. And we're looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. It is a participatory event, today's show. We're going to be taking some calls from you and what we like to call gun Q&A, which is, of course, question and answers. And, of course, the one rule, as it comes down to it, for Firearms Friday is that there is no such thing as a dumb gun question. We'll answer your questions. We'll talk with you. We will dig up whatever it is that you're looking for. If I don't know the answer to it, and I'm pretty sharp, but I'm not the end all be all. I don't have every answer. I've got the smartest listeners in the world. So somehow, some way, somewhere, we will answer your questions in regards to firearms and guns and everything else. So that's what it's all about today. Phone number to call is 433-3150, the Pivotel call-in line. If you would like to be part of it today, that's all you have to do is give us a shout on that, 433-3150, and you can line up and hit us with it right now. In fact, I've got all 4 lines open as we speak. Coming up later on in the program this morning, we're going to be talking with Cheng, TopShot champion from Season 4 of TopShot. Chris is going to come on board, and I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about some of the latest and greatest and some of the big news that's going on around the country. And we'll talk with him in the beginning parts of Hour 2. And then in the final segment of the show this morning, we will get down into it with my buddy Willie Waffle from WaffleMovies.com, who will come in and give us the latest entertainment and streaming review and all the other stuff that's fit to print. It's good stuff. So that's where we're going. That's what we're doing, and that's going to be the whole show for today. So welcome to it, and thanks for coming out. Don't forget, you can always join us in the chat room, which is available on Facebook. Facebook.com/Michael Dukes Show. And, of course, we also broadcast on YouTube. I see that Michael is commenting on YouTube this morning, and Larry and Brian at Facebook. It doesn't matter. I could see all the comments. So feel free to join us on any of the platforms and drop us a link and a comment, and we'll be ready to go there. So come on in and be part of it. That's how easy it is. You can also drop me an email. The email address is me@michaeldukeshow.com, me@michaeldukeshow.com. And I think that's it. Did I do everything? Oh, holiday recipe contest. Don't forget about the holiday recipe contest. For those of you who have been wanting to view that and see all that, they've got the latest recipes are now up. I understand that the Kentucky Derby pie is now up on that, and you can go You can go check that out, or you can post your own recipes for your favorite holiday recipes there. And we will be drawing on the we'll be choosing that winner on the 21st of December, and that'll be our final broadcast day of 2021 is going to be a week from this Tuesday, and we'll be choosing the winners and everybody else. So it's going to be a fun stuff. All right. So headlines. Who's got your headlines? What are we gonna chat about today as we wait for your phone calls and discussions on this stuff? What should we talk about? Well, there's a couple interesting pieces. One is an article out of Atlanta, and this is in light and in response to the Kyle Rittenhouse acquittal and the self-defense acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse. A DeKalb County elementary school teacher is now fighting to get his job back after charges against him for shooting somebody were dropped. Roger Mathis was forced to shoot his former roommate in self-defense after the man kicked in the door of his home in February of 2020. Mathis told the Channel 2, the television station there, that he had been trying to evict Terrell Terry for weeks before the shooting. Terrell had been cited for disorderly conduct and violence in the same month of the shooting. A judge had ordered Terry to return the house keys to Mathis and had granted Mathis a protective order. So he already had a restraining order against him. And then a few days after the hearing, Terry kicked in the front door of Mathis, the teacher, and Mathis shot him and was subsequently arrested and charged with aggravated assault. Mathis said that Terry really just played the police officers who didn't run his name and didn't do their due diligence to find out who he was. He lost his teaching job, and the state revoked his teaching license. So here we go. After nearly 2 years of fighting for his freedom, Mathis has finally gotten the charges dropped against him, and he's looking ahead to the future. He said they should have done an investigation. I had all the proof that he wasn't supposed to be there, but they said they wanted to play it out in court. I'm glad it didn't go that far and that justice prevailed. It just took a long time. Mathis is hoping that since the charges have been dropped that he will be able to get his teaching job back. He says, I'm looking forward to getting into the classroom. He has a hearing in January to try and get his license restored. He told one of the representatives, or he told one of the newspaper outlets that he'd spoken to a representative with the Georgia Professional Standards Commission who says because he's been cleared, he should be getting his job. He should be getting his job back. I mean, you should never have lost the job in the first place. I mean, you had a restraining order. You had this guy, a judge had ordered him. He'd been hit with. But don't worry. You know, they're always on your side. They're always on your side. Don't worry about that. I mean, come on. Seriously, at this point. At what point do you just go, man, you just got seriously boned by the system. Welcome to it. Well, I'm glad to see that he has been that he's been cleared and maybe he'll be getting his job back. We'll see. You know, and of course, 2 years worth of income and everything else, and now everybody's going to look askance at him because he used a. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of, left-leaning. I'm sure there's a lot of left-leaning teachers there who are probably going to look askance at him now that he has used a gun, and it'll be horrible. He'll have the scarlet letter on his chest when it's all said and done. Oh, man. Could you imagine losing your job because you were simply defending yourself? That's crazy. I mean, that really is just nuts. Just defending yourself in your own home, and you get, I don't know if I'd want to go back to work for an outfit that would do that to me. You know, that sounds pretty crazy. I mean, the first thing I would do is walk down to my school or my superintendent, whoever, and I would wave the restraining order in his face and say, "How can you say that this is not? I mean, this was not just assault. Here it was. The judge said he was supposed to stay X number of feet away from me, and he kicked in my front door. They've got video. They've got actual video of this occurring where he's just in his house and the guy kicks in his front door, and luckily this guy was armed. So anyway, it's you could see it right there. The guy kicks in the front door and just dives in through the door, and that's when the teacher draws and shoots him. Anyway, good news for him. I guess that's the important part. The good news is for him. What was the other thing? Oh, did you see this? Christmas card post, Twitter post by Representative Thomas Massey of Kentucky? Did you see this post? It's Thomas Massey and his 5 kids and his wife, and they're all around a Christmas tree and a couch and a Christmas tree, and they've all got guns. I mean, they've all got. I think Massey is holding a replica of an M60. She's got a Thompson. The other one's got an Uzi. I mean, there's some serious guns in this picture, and they are all sitting there smiling at the camera, and it basically says, "Merry Christmas. P.S. Santa, please bring ammo." Now, this would normally send a lot of left-wing folks and anti-gun folks off the deep end anyway, but this took place like 4 or 5 days after the shooting at Oxford High School. Now, Thomas Massey has nothing to do with Oxford High School in Michigan and any of those other things, but people immediately dove off the deep end and say that he was just absolutely being insensitive because of the – I mean, again, not his constituency, not his thing. He's putting out a Christmas card to his people, the supporters of him and all that stuff, and he immediately gets just absolutely lambasted for it. And the disrespectful, and I mean even Republicans who are out there. I'm pro Second Amendment, but this isn't supporting the right to keep and bear arms. This is a gun fetish. And I'm like, I just think people are way too. I think people are way too sensitive, way too sensitive these days. Maybe it's just me. But I think that they are way too sensitive to worry about that this morning. All right, well, we're coming up on the break, and we're going to see what you guys have to say. Phone lines are open. Everybody, it's so quiet this morning in the chat room and everything. Phone lines are open, though, if you want to sound off at 433-3150, 433-3150, the Pivotel and the Satellite West call-in line. We would love to hear what you guys have to say. Feel free to give us a ring, and we'll chit-chat about whatever it is that you want to talk about this morning. You want to talk about, Thomas Massey's thing. You want to talk about the new ghost gun videos that NPC News is going after. We could talk about that. We could talk about Dan Crenshaw and how he's slapping back at gun owners of America. About red flag laws. I don't know if you've been following this. Dan Crenshaw he's got quite a following in the conservative circles, but gun owners of America have kind of taken him to task on some stuff, and he's slapping back on it now. So if you want to talk about that, we can do that as well. Whatever you want to chat about. I'm totally, you know what? I'm easy. I'm ambivalent. Let's get into it. Let's just pour a cup of coffee and hang out. That's my favorite thing in the world. All right, my friends, let's get to it. We'll be back in with more in just a minute. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Again, don't forget to come on out on Facebook and like and share the show there, and like and follow the show so that you get notifications when we go live. And we'll return to the radio here in just a moment on Firearms Friday.
We're broadcasting live through a series of tubes.
Allowing all of these entities to provide streaming stuff going on the internet.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain. Sorry. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. Wow, drove up to Fairbanks yesterday, and it was a long day yesterday. Long day. And finally got into bed and ready to rock and roll this morning. But I've got the rest of the day off, so I'm probably going to go back to the hotel room and take a nap. I'm ready to do that right now. I'm ready. Hi, PogChamp. Who else we got in here? Michael. Yeah, you guys have it's been really quiet. There's not a whole lot. I don't know if I pushed the button or what, but there's not a whole lot of people in the chat room this morning. Only 22 people currently in the video on the Facebook page. Yeah, I love me some Coleon Noir. I've tried to get him on the program a couple times. I may have to use and abuse my relationship with a couple other gun rights people to be able to get that going on, because I never seem to get anywhere with it. But I would love to have Coleon Noir on the program. That would be fantastic. Okay. Happy Friday. Morning, Mike. Morning, Mike, and everybody else. Well, that was a quick show, says Larry. I don't know what you mean. Why was that a quick show? Did I shut it off? Got enough snow yet? He needs his job back and reparations, says Henry. That's for the teacher down in Atlanta. 7 feet up on Diamond Ridge of snow. Oof, man. He needs to sue his former employer for back wages. Yeah. Speaking of legal troubles, do you see the news about the director of the runaway shelter here in Fairbanks getting indicted for embezzling over $90,000? No, really? Oh, man, nobody needs that. Nobody needs that. Let's see. What? This is the most I participated in months. Do I need to use all caps? No, you don't need to use all caps. If you're in the banks, hit up the Cheesehead joint for some grub. Don't deny yourself. I heard that. So we had my wife and I had Friar Tuck's last night. That was delicious. Chicken po' boy with the hoodoo fries and the little wontons, little pot stickers. Oh man, so much good stuff. All right. Well, we're coming up here. This break seems to have gone on forever. But I didn't start my timer, so I hope that they're timed out appropriately. Let's just put it that way. Let's just hope that this whole thing is timed out appropriately. Because otherwise I'm in trouble. Miss Piggy Mac with cereal milkshake. You're welcome. Dang. That sounds good. We'll have to try that out. Do they deliver to Sterling? That's a long drive for a pile of mac and cheese. I think your milkshake would be a little runny by the time you got there. All right, we're 1 minute out here. Jumping back into it. The Michael Dukes Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Please like and share the video. And like and follow the show page. Shall we? Shall we do that? I think we shall. And then I want more participation today, damn it. That's what I want. More participation. Where are y'all? Call me up. Here we go. Where's the button? Oh, there it is. Lost my own button there. Let's get going on here. All right, welcome back to the program. Firearms Friday. We were just talking about the legal troubles of this. The runaway shelter director here in the Fairbanks area just got popped for embezzling $90,000. Ugh. Merry Christmas, right? Merry Christmas. That was the story that we were all looking for sure. Man. All right. Well, hey, phone lines are open this morning, and I'm going to just throw them open however you want to do it. Open line, open forum. 907-433-3150 if you want to. Now I'm curious as to that was one thing that I did not test last night when I got everything all set up, because everything appeared to be working properly, and now I'm doubting myself as to whether or not my phone lines are working properly. I mean, I'm just a little concerned that somebody may have been trying to call in and the phone lines weren't working. Oh yeah, see, that's not how it works. Let me try that one more time. People have been probably trying to call in and they can't get through, and now they're like, "You keep giving the phone number, Dukes. What's the deal?" Yeah. Oh, that's not working, is it? Okay. All right. Well, the phone lines apparently are not working. So let me drop everything here, and I'll see if I can get this restarted while we're talking this morning.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye to you too. We're going to try and get everything ready to rock and roll, and hopefully give you an opportunity to actually call in this morning. I don't know why it was ringing. It was ringing busy when I just tried it this morning. I thought that's a little odd. But there are plenty of other stories here that we can cover, and of course, as I mentioned before, we've got Chris Cheng coming up here in just a few moments. So we'll get started. We'll get started on that here in just a minute, and we'll get things ready to rock and roll. You can give us a call in a minute, but you can also drop us an email. The email address is me@michaeldukeshow.com. me@michaeldukeshow.com. If you feel like you want to, throw me a bone in the email, I would be more than happy to do that with you and read your email out over the air. There's been lots of good conversations this morning about everything that is gun related out there in the world. This is one of them right here. More states are now adopting. This is in terms of the Second Amendment. The 2020 and 2021 have actually been very, very good years for the Second Amendment. We began the year with 16 states that had constitutional carry. We began 2021 with 16 states, and we'll conclude this year of 2021, just 12 months later, with 21 states that recognize the right of legal gun owners to lawfully bear arms without a government permission slip. That's pretty sweet, baby. I mean, that's pretty nice. There's definitely no complaints about any of that going on, and I think it's only going to get better from here. We're seeing more and more people who are open, I guess, to the fact that they may have to defend themselves, that they may be responsible for their own protection. We've seen this time and time and time again, that there's no atheists in a foxhole, so to speak, and that's what we saw after a lot of the legal challenge, the legal challenges and the riots and everything else, is that more and more people decided the defund the police movement, that what they really needed was they needed to be able to defend themselves, and so they went out and they got their own firearm, because they couldn't count on anybody else. They couldn't defend anybody else. So that's a pretty exciting move overall when it's all said and done. I'm excited about it personally to watch it happen. So it's good to see. And this again shows us why. The gun control hurts the average citizen more than anything else. The average citizen is hurt by gun control. That they're the ones that are, struggling to get through this. Over at townhall.com, Philip Raboli has written a piece talking about gun control prevents citizens from defending themselves in an increasingly dangerous America. And he talks specifically about this act that for the first time, for millions of recent gun owners recent first-time gun owners are finding out this scenario where they have to seek permission from the government to be able to do a lot of these things that they should be able to exercise, without some nameless, faceless bureaucrat waiting days to be able to do it. It's pretty astonishing. Look, I've got the phone lines working in a way, but I'm going to have to give you a new number. Something's wrong with my. I have a forwarding number set up, and for some reason it's not working properly. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a new phone number to call this morning, just for this morning. If you want to call in and talk with me, prepare to write this down. Are you ready? 319. This is going to mess people up. 319-527-3864. This is why I have a forwarding number, because it makes it so much easier. But something's broken. I don't know exactly what, but we'll figure it out. 319-527-3864. If you want to sound off this morning, that number actually works. I've actually dialed it, and it works just fine. If you want to call in and talk with me, I'd love to hear what you have to say, and we'll talk with you, just like Joan, who's on the phone right now. The bonus of this is that I'm not using the forwarder. I can see your name as to who you are with your caller ID. So Joan is on the line. Let's jump over there and see what she has to say about things this morning. Again, the phone number to call is 319-527-3864. Over to the phones right now to Joan. Good morning, Joan. Is this you? And where are you calling from?
Oh, no, this is your friend Mark up in Fairbanks. Mike, good morning.
Hello, Mark. What's on your mind?
Well, I just received this wonderful book that was written by somebody local here of an actual ordeal that unfolded. It's called "We've a Story to Tell: An Alaska Church Battles for Survival. How a Small Conservative Alaskan Church Created Fear in and Brought About Retribution from the Alaska Missionary Conference of the United Methodist Church." The St. Paul Church up here on Farmers Loop. Remember when the Marxists come in and tried to take it over?
I don't recall that, Mark. Does this have...
Well, it's a real historic story.
Okay.
And
does it have anything to do with Mark? Does it have anything to do? Mark, does it have anything to do with? Okay, I'm not going to talk over you. Does it have anything to do with Firearms Friday? That's my question. I mean, it's a fascinating story, and I'd love to talk about it. But today is Firearms Friday, so does it have anything to do with Firearms Friday?
You opened the subject and invited callers, Mike. Now, don't be two-faced.
Okay, all right. Well, I meant to talk about anything gun-related, and so I'm not trying to be two-faced. I just want to do what I want to do. And today I want to talk about guns. So that's how it works. Again, 319-527-3864 is the phone number. If you would like to, if you'd like to call in and chat with us this morning, we'd love to hear what you have to say. And again, any gun, I guess I should have been more clear. I was like, any gun topic is fair game today because it is Firearms Friday. And we'd love to talk. We'd love to see what you guys have to say this morning about all that stuff. Again, I can't even remember my own number because I never use it. 319-527-3864. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say this morning. And we'll start off over here and say good morning. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. This is Essential Warrior in Fairbanks, Alaska.
Well, good morning there, Essential. What's on your mind?
Well, talking about Gun Friday, I just went caribou hunting a couple days ago up on the Davison Ditch, and we're so blessed. We have such beautiful country right in our backyard, and 3 beautiful caribou came prancing across the trail, and it caught me off guard. I was reaching for my handgun at first, and then I thought, what the hell am I doing? Get out the car, grab the rifle, and chase them up the side of the hill. And I tried to shoot at one. I had it in my Leopold scope, pulled the trigger, bam, and I went chasing the trail tracks, a couple of drops of blood, nothing major. Then I thought, man, I can't see my vehicle no more, and I know I only have about 2 hours of daylight left. So, I'm just going to be honest. I think I winged a caribou, and, I called Fish and Game, and I kind of told him myself, I said, hey, I shot at one. I think I'm doing it right. Let me know if I'm doing it wrong. He said, well, you got to go try to track it and at least give an effort to capture your kill. And long story short, I couldn't find it, but what's on my mind is that Alaskans, we need to prepare with this big old thing in Ukraine and Russia. Russia has 170,000 troops on the border there from the satellite image I've seen. So I'm wondering, does each of the soldiers have a handgun and a rifle? And not to mention the nuclear warplane that's been flying around too. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Ukraine and Russia, and, Russia is flexing its muscles once again as it did during the Cold War. I mean, this is what we lived through here in Alaska during the Cold War, when we saw a lot of the same kind of, again, muscle flexing and the cocky talk and everything. They may. I mean, who knows? Georgia may become a member of NATO. Ukraine may jump back into Soviet hands. We have no idea at this point. The best thing we can do is prepare ourselves for taking care of our families right here, making sure you got, the standard, the food, the water, the medicine supplies, the things that you need, a supply of fuel, and be proficient in doing things. Be proficient in hunting, and as you're saying, tracking down the game, being able to feed yourselves. Those are all important things. All we can do is prepare ourselves and our family for whatever else is going on, and just be prepared to deal with things on your own. That there is no big be prepared for the idea that there is no big government to help. So whatever you're going to do, make sure you prepare your own self first and foremost. That's my best recommendation at this point.
I always love to listen to you in the morning before I go to work, and I'm just grateful that I have a job. And right now it's kind of feast or famine. I've been working an average of 50 to 60 hours a week overtime after my regular 40 hours. But yeah, this is a crazy, unprecedented time we're living in.
Yeah, absolutely. Nope, it is crazy. We just got to be grateful. Got to be grateful for what we got. It's that Christmas season spirit. Just be grateful. God bless us, everyone. Right? I mean, what Tiny Tim says. So, hey, I appreciate
God bless everyone.
I appreciate you calling in. Thanks for being part of it this morning. I got one more line on hold, but I am literally 60 seconds away from having to run. So, caller, hold the line for a minute. I'll be back to you here in just a second, but I've got to take a quick break. I can't. I can't. I got to go. So we're gonna take that quick break, and we'll be back with more phone calls. New phone number this morning. So it's all. I mean, I don't know. 319-527-3864. 319-527-3864. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We'll return with more right after these messages.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes On Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. Yeah, I know. 319 is in Iowa. And everybody's got a bitch about it because I got the wrong phone number. I can't help it that my voice over IP conference system is got an Iowa phone number. That's why I have a forwarder phone number. That's why you've got the 907. But it's broken this morning. But everybody's got a gripe about it because it's not an Alaska number. Sorry. Can't fix it. Actually, you know what? Sorry, not sorry. Still can't fix it. See if I can get this. Yeah, no, it's busted. I don't know what happened. These guys keep messing with my stuff. But yeah, David, it is an Iowa number. Sorry. That's how it works. Everybody's got to be a critic. Let me see if I can fix this. Can I fix this? Where's the phone number? There we go. Let me fix this here so that I can... there we go. Right there. Now I could do this. 319-527-3864. I mean, I can't even remember the number, so what more are you going to do here at this point? Are you really in Iowa pretending to be in Alaska? I'm really in Fairbanks. Can you see that? Oh, there you go. Right there. I'm really in Fairbanks pretending to be in Wasilla. That's where I'm at right now. I'm really in Fairbanks pretending to be in Wasilla. Idiots out walking around. That's what Iowa stands for. Iowa, the new Alaska. I mean, I could be from Louisiana, right? I mean, that's what the other pretend radio show host does. Apparently, he pretends to be from Alaska, and but he's really down in Louisiana doing it all. I'm in various parts of Alaska doing it all. So that's all I can say. Let me jump over here to the phone lines and get the name of this caller and see what they have to say here. Good morning. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Morning, Michael. This is Larry again. North Pole, Fairbanks area.
Good morning, Larry. Hold the line, Larry. Hold on. We're going to be right back. We're going to be right back to you here. Let me just write. That's Larry. Larry. Wow. North Pole. Okay. I got it. All right. So we're going to be back to Larry here in just a second. He knows who he is. He's a dude pretending to be a dude pretending to be another dude. That's one of my favorite movie quotes. I didn't mean to smack down on Dan too much. But, it's kind of, don't pretend where you're, don't pretend that you're not. I mean, I'm here. I know where I'm at, right? I'm affected by everything that I talk about here locally. So why should I pretend to be that I'm living somewhere else? I just find it, I don't know. I find it kind of irritating that you're going to live in another area and pretend to be from the mother country. That bugs me. Okay. We're going to be talking to Larry here in just a hot second. I have to send a message to Chris Cheng to make sure that he's on board for what we got going on this morning. Feel free to call anytime after. There we go. Okay, got it. I've done everything. You could do the show in Detroit from KGB. I should do a show in Detroit from KGB. You were talking about routine prediction. Russia hits Ukraine, and the next day China takes Taiwan. JB will so shook he'll wet his pants And don't forget, China has a hypersonic missile very, very fast. Just saying. It could be. I mean, it could be. They're rattling their saber hard enough over Taiwan. I don't remember them ever hitting it quite so hard. Are you sure you are where you think you are? Maybe it's a big simulation, and the program just has you thinking that you're in Alaska. You watched the simulation hypothesis, didn't you? I could tell. What if Larry is actually Mark pretending to be Randy, wanting to be Harold? Oh, my God, my head just exploded. My mind just totally blew on that one. Okay. Yeah, that's creepy. I'm just going to say right there, Bill, that's creepy. Doesn't matter what they do at this point. We can't afford another war. Military is exhausted from 20 years of Afghan and Iraq. We are not ready. The simulation hypothesis is a fascinating show, man. I was scratching my head for days after watching that thing. It was great. All right, well, Larry's on the line. We're about ready to jump back into it. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Share the show. Like this video. Do all the things. Do it all. Do it all. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Annette Funicello. It's like the big surf rage thing, right? I mean, I love that. I love that. All right, welcome back to the program. The Michael Duke Show continues. New phone number for this morning only. For those of you who want to call in, the Pivotel call-in line, 319-527-3864. I know, it's an out-of-state number. My forwarder broke here this morning. 319-527-3864. Feel free to call in right now like Larry did. Larry is in North Pole. He's on the line this morning. Larry, what's on your mind, my friend? What's happening?
Well, a couple things. One, a person in Wasilla asked me what radio station to listen to you on.
And well, there is no radio station in Anchorage or Wasilla that broadcasts the show. They have to listen to it on the internet in those areas. That's
okay.
Where, so.
Well, I think that person is kind of like me, computer no computer.
You're a Luddite, is what you're saying. You're a complete and total Luddite. You don't like technology. Got it.
Well. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing is, this not today, but a week from today, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, there's going to be another gun show at Shoppers Forum there in the old Gottschalk building on Airport Way in Lathrop Street. Yeah. It's probably, well, it'll be the last one for the year. I forget what they're calling it, holiday bazaar, holiday special or something. But not sitting at the kitchen table right now on the road.
Sure.
I got this nasty 4-letter word that I have to go to in the morning.
Got a little bit of work to make up, huh? Yeah, don't mean to swear, but I see that happens. So this will be the 16th, 17th, and 18th of next week at the Shoppers Forum Mall?
Correct.
All right.
Anyway, I'll let you go and let someone else get in there, and we'll be seeing you later. What brings you to Fairbanks, by the way?
Oh, I got just personal stuff to take care of up here today, so we're just having a little fun back in the old hometown. Just enough to wet the whistle and remind us as to why we moved outside to Wasilla, right? Just enough to remind us exactly how much we love the people, but how much we hate the winters. I guess that's probably sums it up pretty well right there. So,
all right. Well, you take good and have good holidays.
Thanks, Larry.
I won't be able to talk to you next week. I'll be setting up tables.
You bet. All right, Larry. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you being part of it today. Merry Christmas. All right. So, phone number to call again if you want to sound off this morning is 319-527-3864. Yes, I know it's a different number. I know. And still powered by Pivotel. Still powered by Pivotel and Satellite West. 319-527-3864. I have no idea what happened to my my regular number got broken. And my regular number goes to this number usually anyway. So that's, I mean, it's just, I'm trying to make it easy for you guys. You know what I mean? But anyway, everything's up and working right now. We've got more things to talk about. What did we tell? We talked about the Thomas Massey thing, the outrage over his Christmas photo, to which I say that, I mean, one happens in Ohio, the other one happens in Kentucky. He doesn't represent anybody in Ohio. Just because there was a shooting or a death or a murder or something violent, does that mean that nobody can post anything that's, you know, again, everybody is so sensitive about everything. What else did we talk about? Did you hear about this reaction to the Kyle Rittenhouse shooting? The Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. There's been lots of different reactions. Of course, people got all unhinged. And honestly, the biggest thing that they were talking about is that they swore a black man couldn't get justice, but that a white killer could just walk away. And, of course, that was just days before the three men were convicted of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. I mean, that was a pretty much an open and shut case. Nobody walked out on that. That was justice. That was justice as it was supposed to be served. But, of course, now they're not talking about that now. And at least a lot of the smack talk about Rittenhouse and his verdict was non-threatening, but that wasn't the case for everybody. A deranged Missouri man threatened to kill students at a high school in the name of Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, this is unfortunate because his name is the same name as a friend of mine who lives out in Salcha. So I don't know if Mitch is listening or not, but Mitchell Lovelace, 27, a different Mitchell Lovelace, not the Salcha Mitchell Lovelace. This guy is over in Missouri. Mitchell Lovelace, 27, posted a Snapchat Saturday that said he planned to shoot up Festus High School. First of all, the high school's name is Festus. Hey, Festus, what are you doing? Festus High School in honor of the Illinois teen, according to the charging documents cited by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Lovelace, who was later arrested at his Festus home, has been charged with making terroristic threats, according to Jefferson County prosecutors. He said in his post or in his video, "I'm going to shoot Festus High School students in the name of Kyle Rittenhouse." Another post by Lovelace warned that no wonder schools get shot. The news just proved that we can get away with it, especially if it's an explicitive like Festus. Of course, supporters of Rittenhouse wouldn't say the verdicts, proved we can get away with it. That's not what the point. I mean, that was not what it is. That's not what the whole point of that case was. He basically proved that he had defended himself, not that he could prove that we could get away with it. But that's what's on some people's minds. I mean, this whole thing is just downright infuriating. But here's this guy who's going to go in there and just talk. I mean, I'm just glad that the guy is in custody. I mean, and we should note that that any potential shooting that has been averted without the use of a red flag law is also a good thing. We didn't even need a red flag law to pull this guy off the street. He, incriminated himself. So anyway, I just found it, you don't see the news media really sounding off on this and saying, well, this guy, who he disputed the Kyle Rittenhouse, he didn't like it, but so he's going to go shoot some people up in the name of Kyle Rittenhouse. You don't see that hitting the news. This is being reported, by the way, by the New York Post was the story that I was reading that out of. So just in case you were wondering, in case YouTube or somebody wants to hit me with a fact check, because I got hit with a fact check anytime I mention Kyle Rittenhouse, it seems like I get a ding on my YouTube channel or something. So, but I mean, again, this guy's totally crazy. I'm going to shoot people in the name of Kyle Rittenhouse because I didn't like the verdict. Well, that seems to make a lot of sense, right? I mean, let's just you are nuttier than squirrel poo. Absolutely nuttier than squirrel poo. All right, what else we got here? Oh, we were talking about we were talking about the constitutional carry before we got up into the phone calls. 16, begin the year with 16 constitutional carry states. We're going to end the year with 21. And it's just going to be, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I mean, I think right now they're saying that by the end of next year, that it could be as much as 27 states have constitutional carry. It looks like the next ones that could, the next dominoes that could fall, so to speak, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Ohio, Nebraska, and Indiana are all on the clock to join the ranks of permitless carry in the United States. Cam Edwards over at BearingArms.com has got a good piece up on this where they talk about the specifics of each state and what could be, what's going to happen. Now, Florida is interesting because they said that a spokesperson for Governor Ron DeSantis says the office doesn't dispute the characterizations of a video that show that the governor responding to, of course, is whether he'd sign a constitutional carry bill. If he does throw weight behind the measure, it's almost guaranteed that it'll get to his desk. He's eyeing a presidential run. Signing a constitutional carry bill could be a big boost for his resume. But there's been some little waffling on that. Some people have said, no, he doesn't really support that. We don't know. We're going to watch to see what happens. But that would be a big one right there, an absolutely big one. Oh, I said Ohio earlier when I was talking about Oxford. That's Michigan, Kentucky and Michigan when I was talking about Thomas Massey. I apologize. I just realized that I said Ohio. Sometimes I've got delayed intelligence. What more can you say? Sometimes that happens. You remember something incorrectly. Ohio, Indiana, Georgia, and more. So it looks like it's going to be a good year for gun owners and for constitutional carry and for advocates of self-defense and the Second Amendment. It's going to be good stuff, and we are looking forward to it. All right, we are coming up on the break. We got more coming. We got more continuing. We're going to hear from Chris Cheng in hour 2, and then we will finish up with Willie. Don't call me William Waffle for WaffleMovies.com. That's all coming up directly ahead. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Be kind to one another. Love one another. We'll be back with more right after this. I got too many knobs in front of me here. I'm trying to turn up one, turn down the other, turn one button on, turn the other one off. Hello. Slept in, and boy, it felt good, said Dodie. Man, I wish I had slept in this morning. But that's okay. I'm going to go take a nap. As soon as this is over, I'm going back to the hotel, and I'm going to climb into bed and snuggle with my wife and go back to sleep for a couple, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. I don't know. However long I sleep, that's what I made the decision, that today is a day to rest. I need it. I could feel that little bit of rundownness, coming on for pushing it, for burning that candle a little too hard at both ends. That's what it's all about. I just got stuff going on. All right, let me see what Mr. Cheng says this morning. We go to 37 after. Is that right? Do I get that right? I do got that right. Okay. I can't type and talk at the same time. You guys know that. Okay. Send user when you like. Okay. There we go. Oh, hey, look, and it's popping up on my screen right here. I didn't even have to use my phone. Don't forget to take cinnamon rolls back to the hotel. Just saying. Cinnamon rolls? From where? Tell me about these cinnamon rolls. Tell me about these cinnamon rolls and where do you get them? Let's go back over here. You're an evil bastard. You know that, right? When the government closed them all, where did the occupants go? Need to bring back nut houses in this nation. So many. Oh, I see. This is it. So many need to just be taken out of society. We've actually had that conversation in the past. You know, institutions in the United States that used to be, you know, federally funded or state funded and controlled, and how there were a lot of bad things that happened there, but there also, you know, there has to be some kind of middle ground. We can't go back to the way institutions were with some of the depraved and crazy conditions and the, you know, the abuse and the filth and the squalor and, I mean, everything else that was going on. We can't do that. But at the same time, leaving these people out on the streets to deal with their own devices and just, I mean, that's part of the problem with what we've got going on here. We can't keep doing that. You know, and Chuck makes a valid point. When the government closed them all the asylums, you know, the homes, the asylums, when government closed them all, where did the occupants go? Well, they went back to their families. They went back onto the street. They went back to living in, I mean, they just went back into society, you know, jarringly so. And so it is, you know, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. How close are we here? Okay, we still got a little time. I'm going back here to read some of the comments. I think Bill actually won the internet with that comment today. What if Larry is actually Mark pretending to be Randy, wanting to be Harold? I think that quote, we should put that quote up somewhere. But we should put that up somewhere. In the town that Ben and Jerry's is made in Vermont, they had a mental institution shut down and just let everybody out, and most of them still reside there. In the town or in the institution? Are they still living in the institution, just kind of on their own? That's my question. Russia and China are doing exactly what most would do. They're laughing at Mr. Potato Head. Bumper stickers or T-shirts. What? Oh, in the town. They're just in the town. Just close all the Supermax prison, load all the crazies and murderers into C-130s and drop them into country we don't like and tell them this is your home now. That's kind of mean. I mean, that's just kind of mean. What's it? Israel, Silver covers what she wanted. Good morning. I'm still scrolling. Yes, they were. Don't forget. I don't know what the thing. Quit teasing the fat kids. Okay. If the jab were required for all your military members and turns out to be serious health risk to our forces, we're up for a challenge and armed properly to deter and repel the bad guys. Whew, man, that's a lot of words there. T-shirts, bumper stickers or T-shirts, says Jimmy. Just out of the blue. Jimmy, I have no idea what you're talking about. Did I ask a question that required a response about that? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on that. Okay. Well, we're just a minute away or so from rejoining the radio, and we are about 5 minutes away from Chris Cheng. You need bumper stickers and T-shirts for the Randy saying. We do need a bumper. Yeah, that's right. What if? I'm scrolling back because what if Larry is actually Mark pretending to be Randy, wanting to be Harold? That's the question. That's the perfect question. There should be T-shirts and bumper stickers. That is the quote of the day. All right, my friends, we're about to jump back into it. Let's get things going on. The Michael Duke Show. Common Sense Radio.
Buddy, put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
The Michael Dukes Show.
I have 2 guns, one for each of you.
Firearms Friday.
As Thomas Jefferson stated, it is the right and duty of the people to be at all times armed.
Say hello to my little friend.
I say that the Second Amendment is, in order of importance, the First Amendment. The right to keep and bear arms is the one right that allows rights to exist at all.
The Michael Dukes Show. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Not be infringed. Firearms.
From my cold, dead hands.
Friday.
Here's my rifle, this is my gun, this is for fighting, it's for fun.
Firearms Friday.
Firearms Friday, your chance to sound off on issues of a 2A nature right here on the Michael Dukes Show, broadcasting live across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or translator, and around the world at michaeldukeshow.com on the internet. Good morning from Fairbanks. As I'm broadcasting live here from the interior this morning, I got a one day hop. I have to be up here for today and then back home tomorrow. And so it's been a whirlwind tour, but we got a lot of great stuff here to talk about. Joining me in just a couple of minutes is going to be Chris Cheng, TopShot champion from season 4 of the History Channel show TopShot. He'll be joining us to talk about just situations in general. We'll see what he's been up to, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about the Rittenhouse trial. Maybe we'll talk about the Oxford shooting. And lessons to be learned from that, how we as gun owners can, help foment more responsibility amongst ourselves. And we'll see what's going on. You're not in Fairbanks. You're in Wasilla. They're thinking that this is all the Matrix. The Matrix has you. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I could say I'm anywhere. I could say I was in Louisiana and it wouldn't matter, right? Anthony asks a question in the chat room. He says, I have a legit firearms question. Have you ever had hot brass eject out of the rifle and get stuck in your beard? If so, what is the OMG my face is on fire safety protocol? I have had hot brass get into my beard and then fall into my shirt, which is the worst thing ever. The only thing worse is, I guess, if I was a lady and I had, like canyons down there to get stuck in and everything else. I mean, that would be, I can't imagine what that would be like. It was hot enough just rolling down my big belly, you can't untuck your shirt fast enough to get it to fall out fast enough. I have had it hit me in the face. Definitely not a good thing. Not a good, So anyway, that's all good stuff. Let's see. Well, Chris is going to call us here in about 60 seconds, so I don't want to call for more phone calls here in just a minute. Willie Waffle is going to be coming in here in just a bit. Willie and I are going to be talking about. I think we're going to be talking about the new West Side Story movie. Have you seen that? Apparently Spielberg is remaking West Side Story. Now Spielberg is a movie genius. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, can you really bring something new out of West Side Story? I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see how it comes out. But I'm interested to see what Willie Waffle has to say about that, and we'll follow along here at the end of the show this morning with Willie Waffle, and we'll get the full rundown on that. All righty, what is the other thing? Dan Crenshaw. This is one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Dan Crenshaw, a former Navy SEAL, wounded warrior. He's been the darling of the conservative movement. Well, he is he's pushing back on gun owners of America. Gun Owners of America has accused him of supporting some red flag laws aimed at taking guns away from people that the judge has deemed to be a threat to themselves or others. In a sharply worded email to supporters on Wednesday, Crenshaw said that there is no red flag provision in the big military spending bill that passed the House on Tuesday, which he supported. He said GOA and others accusing him of voting for a red flag law when he did not, and what he goes, it's BS, except for the fact that in the past he has supported, in fact, he floated a red flag proposal of his own. I mean, I'm not saying that Dan Crenshaw isn't a great guy, but also he's trying to walk some middle ground here that looks a little bit, it looks a little bit eye-raising. You know what I mean? So you can't claim innocence and be outraged by Gun Owners of America's position on this when you've proposed your own red flag law as well. It's you can't have your cake and eat it too, Dan. I get it. All right, well, let's jump over to the phones because it's that time of day and that time of the month where we get a chance to talk with my buddy Chris Cheng, TopShot champion from season 4 of the show TopShot. That's where it is right there, and he joins us right now. Good morning, my friends. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, and got myself a cup of coffee. So,
well,
that, I'm all set.
That was a start. I mean, when you were like, "I'm so tired," I'm with you, man. I feel your pain in a big way. But definitely, coffee makes the whole day better when it's all said and done.
Indeed.
And so, we were just talking about a couple different things. We were talking about, the outcome of the Rittenberg trial. You and I have not had a chance to talk about that since that all went down. And we were also talking about the Oxford shooting and kind of this unusual situation where now the parents are going to be held liable for 4 counts as well, each one of them. And so I thought I'd get your take on both of these things, and let's start off with the Rittenhouse deal, and then we'll check in to see what else you're covering these days. But let's start off there.
Yeah, sure thing. So the Rittenhouse trial, obviously, everyone was paying attention and waiting to see what happened. And on the one hand, I'm happy that he was, acquitted. But, I sort of take a step back and, just the whole episode is it's just a lose-lose situation, right, for everyone. I mean, now, great, right, Rittenhouse is free, but now he's like, right, having trouble, rebuilding his life. I mean, right, he's got his whole life ahead of him. But now he is clearly just being demonized, right, and dragged through the mud by the anti-gun entities and a lot of other folks. And then I kind of even step back a little bit, and right, I ask myself the question, how did we get here? Right? What are the circumstances?
You still with me, Chris? Uh-oh. Looks like we lost Chris's call. Chris, if you can hear me, you just dropped off. What are the circumstances? And that was the last thing I heard you say. So let's he's going to try and call us back. We'll try that. Either that or all the cell phone towers in Southern California just went out at once. We'll see if we can get Chris back on the program here. Please make sure you check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Michael Duke Show as well. Chris Cheng rejoins us right now. You still with us, Chris?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, apparently all the cell phone towers in California went out at once. So
Exactly. So, yeah, I was saying, it makes me ask, what were the circumstances that led us into this whole situation, right? The riots, and also why would someone like Rittenhouse, right, decide to go to that location and help protect businesses and people. And this is the downside of civil unrest and riots. It's one thing to peacefully protest, right, against perceived injustices, but the second it devolves into riots and civil unrest, and I mean, let's be frank, there are times when you put firearms or any kind of weapons into a volatile situation, it can get very confusing.
Right.
And you don't have necessarily, quote unquote, trained professionals, right?
Right.
It's just, right, like innocent civilians who are all trying to do what they think is best
Well,
But
and are forced to do what they think is best, Chris, because the police had stepped back, had stepped down. I mean,
Exactly.
Rittenhouse was invited by business owners to come help protect and clean and take care of things because they were concerned because the police had already basically made the announcement that we're going to stand down and allow the protests and the riots to go on. And so this is what happens when you leave people to try and defend themselves. Without the the quote unquote the wink and the nod of government, they're just going to say, well, we're just going to let it go, and you guys are on your own. Well, we're on our own. We're going to call for help because we can't do it all ourselves. This is what happens.
Exactly. And so if there's these continual calls to defund the police and demoralizing our law enforcement, and if our law enforcement officers are like, metaphorically handcuffed from doing things, right? It's like, why would I, as a law enforcement officer, risk my life and go try and stop these looters and rioters if in the normal act of either self-defense or protecting the public and the public safety, that the public's then going to ridicule them, right, for using intimidating tactics like riot shields and protecting, it doesn't make any sense, right, for law enforcement to do their job if they're just going to be insulted and attacked, right, for doing their job. So, right, it's like this whole conflagration of different dynamics and some of the really, I think, dangerous ideologies and attitudes that seem to be coming to the forefront in our country. And the whole Rittenhouse episode, I think, right, was one of these low points in our country's history. And I really hope that, just to be frank, Michael, I think our country's going to hit some kind of rock bottom at some point. And I think we still have a little farther to go down, which is, I hate saying that because that's not what I want. But right, there's going to be this reckoning,
right?
And I don't know what that's going to look like. But it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, people are going to do what to protect themselves and do everything they can. I mean, quite honestly, the Rittenhouse trial was, it was kind of a sham from the beginning. It was pretty obvious that he had been chased down and tracked down. I mean, they'd seen this. They'd been watching this develop. The police had been shunting off protesters from some of the more downtown areas and pushing them out towards where these militia-type guys or these, were out there. I mean, the whole thing should never have gone to trial. It was very obvious. It was a politically motivated thing. It happened. But the judge saw through it. The judge saw through all the stuff. I mean, the defense was making some ridiculous arguments about how because you were armed, you didn't have the right to self-defense, which would totally fly in the face of anybody who was, carrying concealed for protection. If you go forth armed, you don't have the right to self-defense. That's insane. But that was the argument that the prosecution was making. I just think that in the end, it was a good decision, and it was painful, obviously, to watch, and some people are unhappy with the outcome. But in the long and the short, it was a good decision, and we're better for it.
Indeed. And, I think there's always now this question of how do we heal? How do we move forward and live with certain realities, whether they were pre-existing realities or new realities, right? I mean, I hear and understand some of the concerns from the anti-gun side around, saying, well, now anybody, can come in with a rifle into a public space and just start shooting people. It's like, well, no, that's not true, but that's what they're thinking and feeling, and that's unsettling, right? I mean, imagine if you were afraid to go out in public because, your perception was, anybody can walk around with an AR-15 when it hits the fan. So,
But that's not what happened, but that is the perception, I guess.
Exactly. And I'm just saying, right, this is the perception that some people have. And so how do we help reconcile? How do we help those people reconcile, fact from fiction?
Yeah.
And it is such an emotional experience that's really driven by fear. We all know when we're afraid, the rational part of our brains turn off, and that fear can consume us.
Yeah, no, we got to be willing. We got to be willing to listen and learn and change. And unfortunately, the two sides have become so polarized, and in a lot of ways, I think that that's almost an impossibility. Chris Cheng, Top Shot champion, Season 4, author of the book Shoot to Win. He's with us right now. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the Oxford shooting and the new revelation that the parents are going to be on the hook for 4 counts each. It's going to be an interesting discussion and an interesting trial. This will be the first time you'll see these people be held responsible for the actions of their own child. And we'll see what that does and get Chris Cheng's take on it. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Back with more right after this.
What is that?
Common sense. Regularly heard on American radio. Michael Duke Show. Radio.
Okay, we're in the break right now. I suppose I should start that right there. Yeah, let me do that. Okay, all right. We're in the break. Chris Cheng is our guest. Let me bring him back to the forefront, and we'll continue this time. Chris, we'll talk a little bit about the Oxford shooting. What else you got going on these days? You're a busy man. What else do you want to hit on before we let you go this morning?
Yeah, so there's this really, really impactful and exciting initiative that I've been part of. It's by a nonprofit called Convergence, and what they do is they bring, they go tackle the hardest issues that our country's facing, and so they chose firearms, and they brought together gun rights and gun control advocates, mental health, and veterans. All together in this working group to try and find alignment and agreement on a particular set of sort of issues around how can we make a difference in reducing the number of deaths as a result of firearms. And so we just released the study and our findings after 1 year of multiple meetings, and the focus is on suicide prevention and mental health. And for years, right, so many of us, right, we when there's a mass shooting or some terrible, incident that happens, right, a lot of us, go to the mental health, right, kind of angle, right, where we say, well, right, it's not the gun, it's the person, and we need to better understand and prevent, right, people from executing their violent tendencies.
Right.
So this convergence dialogue is, what hopefully is the start of increasing attention and focus and dollars on mental health, and suicide prevention is a key focus too. When I first after I won TopShot about 10 years ago, I started looking at the data because I didn't really know anything about firearms policy or the dynamics around what are the homicide versus suicide numbers. And I distinctly remember seeing that about 2/3 of firearms deaths are suicides.
Right.
And I remember saying to myself, well, why isn't anybody talking about this?
Right, exactly.
We're so consumed with the mass shootings and all these smaller quantities, smaller impact crimes and accidents, and they're all tragic, of course, but
how did they
really want to move the needle?
And how did they all get conflated together? That was the other thing. I mean, how did you lump the whole thing, because they're all tragedies, but how did you lump them all together like that?
Yeah, it's and so the convergence dialogue was around trying to unpack, right, why aren't we talking more about suicide prevention? And there were a lot of interesting insights around sort of preconceived notions and the taboos that exist, both in the firearms industry and amongst veterans in particular. So yeah, I'd love to talk more about that. Once we're back
let's talk about that. We're about We're about 65 seconds out right now, so we'll put you back on hold here, and we'll pick it up with the Oxford thing, and then we can talk about convergence. It's one of the reasons. I think you probably talked to Rob Pincus about Walk the Talk America, right? I mean,
Yep.
they're doing a lot of things as well. So Rob and Michael Sedini and all those guys, all my buddies over there who've been working that stuff pretty hard. It's you're right. Why aren't we talking more about that? Why aren't we talking about the healthcare aspect of that, the mental health aspect of that? It's a good point. All right, we are getting ready to jump back into this. Chris Cheng is our guest, TopShot champion, Season 4, author of the book Shoot to Win, which you can find on Amazon and wherever good books are sold. Feel free to jump into that and be part of it and share it with your friends and family and relatives and all that stuff. We're going to rejoin the radio here in a hot second. After Chris, we're going to be picking things up with Willie Waffle for our lighter side. Final segment of the weekend, as we do every weekend, to get our weekend entertainment, movie, news, review, all that kind of stuff. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Make sure you like and share this video. Make sure you like and follow the show page. And if you're on YouTube or whatever, hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications when we go live. Let's do this thing. Here we go. All right, we're continuing now. Chris Cheng, TopShot champion, Season 4, author of the book, Shoot to Win, Tips, Tactics, and Techniques to Help You Shoot Like a Pro. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and anywhere you can find better books, and probably on his website, too, at TopShotChris.com, I would imagine so. So before we went to break, Chris, we were just talking about, of course, the Oxford, Michigan shooting, the Oxford High School shooting in Michigan. And the big surprise out of this is that they have now charged both parents after this teenage maniac shot up the school, killed 4 kids. They're now charging the parents with 4 counts each as well. And it's kind of shocking and eye-opening. But again, some of the behavior of these parents is kind of shocking and eye-opening as well. So what's your take on this? Is this something that's long overdue?
Well, I'm going to reserve judgment until, I hear and see more of the facts. But I'll say at first glance, it is a terrible look for the parents, right, as they fled. And it seemed like they were evading the authorities. And so that puts you off on the wrong foot, right? That's just a really, really bad start. Now, I think in a more general sense, right, it's this question of to what extent are parents accountable for the actions and crimes of their children, right? So it's tough, right? Because, we have the age of 18, which is right typically when you are considered an adult, but then obviously for certain crimes, well, if you're younger, you can still be charged as an adult. And so to what extent are the parents in this case complicit or somehow, accomplices in helping their kid commit the crime, whether it was, purposeful or not? Obviously, like those are facts that we'll have to wait and see more of the details. But I think when I think about firearm safety, especially as it relates to children, we're the adults who are the ones who ultimately make decisions about what kids can and can't access, right?
Right.
And for me, right, this cuts across everything. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about firearms, whether it's about what the kids are watching on TV, or how they're using their cell phone, or how many hours a day
medication,
they have access to their cell phone.
medications, liquor. I mean, you could the list goes on and on.
Exactly. So with firearms, obviously there is a heightened level of concern, right, and attention that we should all pay to our firearms and making sure that they are secure. And if there are children present, that to make sure that you're evaluating whether the safe storage approach and tactic that you have in your own home, whether that's appropriate, right, for the age of the children, for where the kids are going to be in your place of residence. And if there's a troubled child in your home, whether it's your child or guests, right, like your kid's friend, something like that, I mean, you have to take that into consideration, and decide, hey, maybe I can trust my kid, but can I trust my kid's friends? I mean, that's a whole nother layer, right, of consideration.
And there was all kinds of, look, the whole thing about this thing is that the parents had purchased the gun on a Friday. He was posting on social media, pictures of the gun with his mom and everything else. And, we got a new Christmas present. And then he was busted out for searching up ammunition at school while he's at school, and was called into the principal's office, and his mom was texting back and forth about, don't be. I mean, it's just the whole thing is weird. And this kid, obviously, the parents had no idea that he had taken the gun out of the house until later. But you're right. Safe storage at this point probably would have made a lot of sense if this is his first time and first exposure to it. Probably would make a lot of sense. And, of course, then they never searched his backpack when they were there in the parent-teacher conference meeting with the police and this and that. Nobody bothered to search his backpack or his locker, and he had the gun on him at that time. I mean, this story is just so out of sight. I don't even know what to think of it.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to, what did the parents know at what point? And, I'm not a lawyer, but I think just common sense, then dictates, well, would a reasonable person have, done what they did, or should they have done something else, right, with their child? And, I've been seeing some, reports of, other parents, right, highlighting really concerning behavior with these school officials, and the school officials, had some, varying reactions and responses, to those concerns. And, was the school officials' response, was that reasonable, right, or not, right? What level of detail did they know? Were the school officials really in a position to stop or prevent? I mean, that sounds like, right, it's going to be up for a jury to decide all of that. But of course, yeah, it is very strange.
This is the first time. Yeah, this is the first time we've really seen this on like a mass shooting level. But I've been asking this question for a long time about parents who don't teach their children or safe store their firearms, and they have, another kid comes over and the kid gets shot by their own kids because they didn't have the gun secure. I mean, like, that's not an accident. That's negligence. You've negligently left that firearm laying around, left it loaded, left it to be able to get into the hands of kids. I think that's a problem.
Indeed.
And so I think this will be the first case of its kind, and we'll see where it goes from here. But we'll follow up on this. I don't have a lot of time here, Chris, and I know you got to go. We've got about 3.5-4 minutes. I know you're working on this new thing called Convergence, which is a discussion between pro-gun and anti-gun people, kind of in the public eye. We've talked a lot about the kind of the mental health aspects of gun crimes or gun violence or death by gun, however you want to phrase it, that include a lot of suicides. Tell us a bit about Convergence and what you've discovered and what you guys are working towards.
Yeah, so early this week, this group Convergence announced a year-long worth of dialogues and discussions, amongst both the firearms community, the firearms industry, and then also anti-gun groups, and also just neutral groups like faith-based organizations, mental health and medical practitioners. And so a group of us had multiple meetings. These are private, closed-door Zoom meetings where there's the whole public debate about firearms deaths and mental health and suicide prevention. But when you have private conversations, oftentimes people, the sort of egos kind of get out of the way, which is good, right? Because this shouldn't be, when we're talking about public safety and public health this isn't about anybody's like ego, right? Or, them as an individual. It's about how do we make our communities a safer place.
Right.
And so the whole goal of these convergence talks was, where can we find alignment and collectively try and move the needle to reduce needless and senseless deaths? So, yes, we talked about red flag laws, we talked about assault weapons. We're like, look, we're not going to agree, right? We're not going to find consensus on these hot button issues. So where the conversation then, turned towards is suicide prevention and mental health. And these two topics are areas of common agreement amongst multiple stakeholders. And so the whole goal of the convergence group is to highlight these issues, to remove taboos and stigmas around talking about suicide prevention. And one thing that I learned, in the firearms industry is that one reason why the firearms industry has not talked about suicide prevention for decades is because it was uncomfortable. And it's a very uncomfortable topic, right? To talk about, hey, you're a gun owner, and if you're, considering, taking your life, and now this context of, potential red flag laws, right, where you could have your firearms and your Second Amendment rights taken away from you, it can basically reinforce why you should stay quiet about this.
No,
right?
It has a negative impact. It definitely has. That's one of the chilling impacts of red flag laws is that people who need help are fearful of seeking it for having their guns taken away and everything else. We're down to the last 30 seconds here, Chris.
Got it. Exactly. So the whole concept of the convergence group was to, shine the light on how suicides account for 2/3 of firearms deaths in America every single year.
Yeah.
Right. 2/3 of firearms deaths are suicides, yet we're not talking about it in any kind of meaningful way. And so the convergence group, right, this is about marshaling our resources, our time, our energy, our dollars towards suicide prevention and mental health, right, making it easier for people to access mental health services when they want them, to make it more affordable as well. And really,
we look forward to hearing more about this as we go through. Chris Cheng, TopShot champion, thanks for coming in and joining us. The Michael Duke Show, out of time. Sorry about that, Chris. I was up against the heartbreak there. Had to get out of town. And Chris is gone. Okay. Well, that side doesn't work very well. That's better. There we go. All righty. Let me go back to the chat room here and see what you guys have to say. Okay, where's the... There we go. If a parent sends an undisciplined child into the public, that they are definitely responsible for the actions of that child. Maybe an in-ranks inspection is required every time the child leaves the house, but so be it. That's what responsibility is. Reality is the way places are treating the police. If something goes badly, I would not want to be waiting around hoping that one of our demoralized, overworked police show up. Well, I mean, demoralized, overworked. I mean, I think there are some that are probably that way, but sounds like the school and the Popo have some culpability in what led up to the shootings. I would agree with that, Larry. I mean, my question is, again, if the school, I mean, the timeline of events is thus. The father purchases a brand new handgun with his son in tow at a gun store on a Friday. The kid posts up on his social media that he got a new toy or his new Christmas present or whatever, and it's got pictures of the gun and that he and his mom were going out to test out his new firearm. So apparently, mom was taking him shooting. Or whatever. The kid shows up at school on the Monday or Tuesday of the shooting, and while he's in class, he's busted using his phone. He's busted by the school because he was doing Google searches for different types of ammunition. Now that in and of itself, I I mean, I guess because they have a zero tolerance policy for guns or firearms or anything gun related at the school. I guess that's a problem. But they remand him back to the principal's office, and they call his parents in to talk with him. His mother sends him a text message that says something along the lines of, "Oh, you guys, you got to learn better. You got to learn better how not to get caught," or something like that. She's laughing out loud, like LOL. You got busted. You got to learn how to do that without getting caught, kind of thing. And then they show up in the meeting, and the school wanted them to take him out of school, and they didn't want to. The parents didn't want to. The police apparently were there. Nobody bothered to search the kid or the locker or his bag. He had the gun in the backpack the whole time. And then when it was all said and done, his parents leave, and then he goes shoots up the place. So that's kind of the whole layout of this thing. So it does sound like that the parents have some culpability. The school and the police who were there could have searched his belongings. If they were so concerned about the fact that he was searching up ammunition, that would probably have been a red flag for me to want to search his belongings. I mean, I would have thought, But the bottom line is that there is parental responsibility, but there's also others who are responsible as well. Larry says, "Kid kind of reminds me of the kid in Florida that both the FBI and the local popo had red flags on for nothing." This is the Parkland shooter. But they did nothing until the kid shut up the school. And that's exactly right. That guy had something like 27 interactions with local law enforcement and over a dozen interactions with the FBI. So it's crazy. In this case, parents are clueless in their education of the child and irresponsible, not defending them at all, but many others are not like those parents. That's true. I mean, each parental thing is different, but I mean, how irresponsible would it be to give your kid to get your kid a gun and then not, secure it? I mean, I think this kid had some other issues as well that we're just not hearing about. So we'll have to see how this goes, but it's going to be a whole brand new world. We'll see, and we'll see if this trial is going to be covered like the Rittenhouse trial and some of the other trials are. That's going to be the interesting part. All right, let's see. Let me clear that, and we are ready to go. Looks like the phone is getting ready to ring here. Willie Waffle is going to be our guest. The Michael Duke Show continues. We're going to do the entertainment report, and hold the line, Willie. Hold the line. We're going to do the entertainment report, and we're going to go over the weekend movie reviews. Please like and share this video. Like and share, like and share, like and share. Don't forget to like and follow the show page and do all that stuff. The recipe contest and so many other things. It's all right here. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Here we go. Jumping into it now. Okay, you ready? You ready for the weekend? I was born ready for the weekend. I'm ready already. Willie Waffle, wafflemovies.com is our guest, and he comes in every week to give us the latest, the greatest on all things that are movie and entertainment related. And he joins us right now. Hello, my friend. How you doing?
Thank God for the weekend. Just thank God for the weekend.
Yeah, no. There's just no two ways about it. I wouldn't be able to make it otherwise. That's for sure. All right. Well, let's. Shall we dive into the news first?
Oh yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I don't know. I guess. I thought this was the last Bond movie with Bond, but no. James Bond will be back. I mean, is it a different Bond? What are we doing here?
Well, Barbara Broccoli. Yeah, and you're supposed to say a broccoli, even though it's spelled broccoli.
Right. I mean, what?
Barbara Broccoli, who is one of the producers of the James Bond franchise, admitted this weekend that yes, there will be another James Bond movie. Now, she doesn't have any details about how or who or what the story would be, but she is clearly dedicated to making hundreds of millions of dollars again.
Of course, because I mean,
Yes.
you got to milk that cow. I mean, when the cow starts giving milk, you just milk it.
Well, my theory is that we're going to see a Bond Year Zero kind of story, where it is going to be a fresh James Bond, straight out of the spy school there for MI6, and really restarting all over again, like none of that other stuff ever happened.
So a complete and total timeline reboot, like Star Trek or something, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's what it's going to be. I mean, come on, the way you ended the James Bond movie.
Don't tell me.
Yeah.
Don't tell me.
Okay, I'm just saying the way you ended it, it's pretty hard to bring back and have another one. Okay.
Okay. All right. I mean, I know no spoilers or anything, but yeah. Well, isn't that kind of what they did with Daniel Craig to begin with? I mean, that was kind of a fresh start, right? I mean, that was he got recruited and everything else from there. I mean, that's how it kind of got started.
Oh, absolutely, and it worked very, very well. I mean, it was perfect, if you ask me. I mean, I think you have to let every James Bond live within their own universe, as if all the other ones didn't happen. The only time that I ever thought that it was a great idea that the James Bonds would actually kind of recognize each other was when George Lazenby had that great line at the beginning of his movie where he says, "Boy, they never did that to the other guy," or something like that.
Nice wink, nod, breaking the fourth wall before Deadpool did it. Right? Okay, I got it. All right. Well, we'll look forward to see that. I mean, we've heard all kinds of names floated around. I think Idris Elba would have been an interesting one, but he's too old. If you're going to do what you're talking about, I mean, that's kind of a young man's game to start. If you want a 20-year franchise like Daniel Craig has had, you got to start with somebody who's in his late 20s, early 30s. You can't be throwing a 50-year-old guy at that because he'll pull a Harrison Ford at the end of his 20-year movie swing.
Oh, absolutely. And Elba's even talked about this kind of publicly over the past few months that, he has a very good chance of being in the next James Bond film, but as a villain. And he says, I think I'm kind of more interested in that.
Yeah, no. Well, all I have to do is look at the, not the Hudson Hawk. What the hell was it? Hobbs and Shaw, where he played the bad guy.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was an excellent bad guy. That was a lot of fun. So, I mean, yeah, he'd be a good one. Speaking of big-time movies, a big buffed-up guy, Sylvester Stallone is about to, I guess, become a member of the mob. What?
This is now my most anticipated TV show of the next year. Sylvester Stallone has signed a deal with Paramount Plus to do his first ever regularly occurring television role, where he is going to play a mob leader who is forced to relocate to Kansas City and reassemble his crew. Now, that sounds interesting, but here's what's going to make you all jump up in joy. This is what's going to make you all tune in that first time they drop the stream on Paramount Plus. It is from two creators. One is Mr. Taylor Sheridan.
Oh.
You may know his show Yellowstone.
Yeah, you may know. That's right.
And you probably have heard of the other guy, Terrence Winter, who did a little program called The Sopranos.
Wow. Okay. Paramount Plus is pulling out the big guns. I mean, Yellowstone has been amazing. And yeah, no, I'm down with that. I mean, Kevin Costner figured it out. If it's good TV, it'll be played just as much, if not more, than movies. So why not?
Well, and I think there's a certain challenge for an actor in a series like that, where you get to play a character and truly develop them over the course of not 2 hours, but over the course of 25, 30 hours over multiple years. That is a great acting challenge. And let's face it, one of the things that's really kind of become part of American television, whether it be streaming or even in a lot of cases, network television, the British idea that a series doesn't have to be 23 episodes or 25 episodes.
Right.
It could be 6.
Right.
A season could be 10. Just do as many that make sense and move on.
Right. Instead of filling half the episodes with fluff that nobody cares about, just do 8, 9, 10 episodes and you're done.
Yeah, and then come back with the rest of the story when you got 10 more good ones.
Okay, well, I'm up to watch that. I got to finish Yellowstone now, so yeah, no, I'm excited about that. Okay. And then I guess Will Ferrell is back. I heard an interesting thing yesterday. One of my kids told me we were watching Elf, and she said, "Did you know that he turned down $18 million to do a sequel to Elf? He said he didn't want to ruin it." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I don't know if I'd heard that or not, or if you'd heard that, but
that is extremely very true."
Is it really?
Yes, it is very, very true. I saw the same interview, and yeah, he said that he just thought it wouldn't be natural. Like what else were they gonna do?
Right.
He's like, we told this whole story. We had a happy ending. Like there's no point in another movie.
Right. Except for Disney or whoever wants to make a lot of money. So it's all good. Or anyway, Will Ferrell's back. Jamie Foxx, Will Forte. What do we got?
It is a new comedy that it looks like it's going to come out in the summer next year because it's already been filmed. It's called Strays. It is a mix of animation and live action where Will Ferrell plays an animated abandoned dog, and he teams up with other strays, including his buddy Jamie Foxx, to get revenge on the former owner, played by Will Forte.
Oh my gosh! Oh man. Okay, I mean it's Jamie Foxx, Will Ferrell playing dogs. I'm down for that for sure.
This could be either brilliant or extremely offensive. There's not going to be much in between, people.
All right, well let's move on to the streams. Unless you got something else up your sleeve.
No, that's it, man. It's been a little quiet this Hollywood week, if you will. It's almost like all the elite are running off to the islands and getting tans instead of causing trouble.
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell is still testifying, so of course they're probably all running for the hills right now.
Oh yeah, hiding. We don't want to be mentioned.
So did you finish any more of the Wheel of Time? I'm just going to ask that before we get into the rest of them.
This has been a really busy.
Okay,
busy
never
week.
mind. I'm not talking to you anymore.
This is my week where all the studios really love me and send me all the stuff that's coming out for the rest of the year because I'm one of the Critics' Choice voters, and we nominate films this week, and then our show is in January on the WB, or I guess it's the CW now, the CW. January 9th from Hollywood, just throwing it out there.
Okay. All right. You get a pass on this one then. You weren't really dissing me. The big remake, I'm hearing all kinds of things about it. West Side Story in theaters. What do you say?
I am shocked at how good this was. I am shocked. When I first heard Steven Spielberg was going to do West Side Story, I think like a lot of people, I said, why? What's the point?
Right.
What are you going to do that will not blow up in your face? And it got a little bit more controversial. The star of the film, Ansel Elgort, has been accused of some pretty horrible treatment of some ladies, and it just seemed like this thing was heading right into the abyss. And then we got a chance to see it, and damn, it's good.
Wow.
Damn. I mean, really good. I mean, hey, you know the story.
Right.
You know the songs.
When you're a jet, you're a jet. But I mean, yeah. I mean, come on. It's been years, but I still remember all that stuff. And it's a great story. I mean, there's a lot to work with there.
There is. And, I think the really smart thing that Spielberg did here is that he's added kind of another element to it all. I mean, we still have that original story, but now we're starting to realize, this rundown part of Manhattan where this battle is taking place is an area where they're clearing out, quote unquote, the slums, and they're building Lincoln Center.
Oh wow!
Okay. Yeah, so here you have these gangs fighting over this territory that's worth nothing to anybody but them, and they're all getting kicked out anyways.
Right.
And there's almost that extra kind of tragedy about it all, and that extra angst. Now you understand why they're fighting so much amongst themselves for these little pieces of land because it's all they've got left.
Right. Well. Sounds good. I mean, good development, good characters, good surprises. Everything's good.
It is so wonderful. I'm going to tell you right now. Oh my God, this young lady who plays Maria is so amazingly fantastic. So fantastic. Oh God, Rachel Zegler is her name, and she just is captivating, and she sings like an angel, and every guy in the theater is going to fall in love with her just as much as Tony does. And you get, I think, on the flip side of that a little bit, you've got this Ariana DeBose who plays Anita, who takes over the Rita Moreno part.
Right.
Which, sorry, you'll never do as good as that.
Right.
That's about as good as it gets. And Rita Moreno's in the movie. Like she's standing there, so you got to be thinking, geez, she probably did this better than I did. And she has a fire and a charisma about her that is really great. And I think, that, along with just the tragedy that we see playing out, I mean, like you said, great story. I mean, it's essentially the Romeo and Juliet story set to really cool music. It's fantastic. I'm saying it's 3.5 waffles.
Wow, 3.5. Okay. Contender, you think, for Oscars and everything?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I really do. My concern a couple weeks ago was that, Spielberg was going to deliver a movie and he was going to be savaged by the woke crowd.
Right.
And I think what he made is perfect. It doesn't pander, nor does it offend. It is just an amazingly told story with real characters and not all that other baloney in the middle of it all. And he's going to get a nomination for Best Director. The movie's going to be nominated for Best Movie. I think Zegler could be nominated for Best Actress. There's a lot of good stuff that's going to happen.
West Side Story, only in theaters right now, but it'll hit the streams probably shortly thereafter, so be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, I would say probably, if I had to guess, about 6 weeks from now when the Oscar nominations come out.
Right. Final movie here, about 2 minutes or so or less. The Unforgivable, Sandra Bullock as a hardened criminal who comes out of parole.
That's right. She shot a police officer, and she did 20 years, and now she's been paroled, and we see her trying to get her life back together, and the hate that she faces because people find out why she was in jail, and the hate she faces, the hate she faces from people that she wronged, from the people who were affected by this, from people who find out about it, and we see that she's struggling above all just to get in contact with the little sister that was basically put into the system and adopted when she got thrown in jail.
Dang, that sounds depressing. Okay.
It is. And you know what's even more depressing?
Yeah.
Looking at Sandra Bullock and the horrible plastic surgery she had that doesn't make her look like she's the age appropriate for the movie. It makes her look even older.
Oh man, that's too bad. That's too bad. Yeah. Well, -1 to 4 waffles on the Unforgivable. What do you say?
I'm going to go 2 waffles. I think it's a really good character piece for a long time, and then it tries to fall into a plot, and I think they try a little too hard.
All right. Well, that's it for the weekend. Maybe next week we can talk a little bit about. Next week we can talk about Wheel of Time to see if you watched it again, and then we're off the following week. Except for Monday, you're going to come in Monday. So. Tuesday. I'm sorry,
all the movies coming out over the holidays.
I know. We got to talk about a lot of stuff. Willie Waffle, wafflemovies.com. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you next week.
Folks, we're out of time. We will see you tomorrow, or Monday. That's what I meant, Monday. All right, Facebook people, thank you so much. Monday on the program, we're going to be talking with Jacob Sullivan from Reason Magazine, and Brad Keithley, our normal Tuesday guest, is going to be coming in Monday to do the weekly top 3. So that's it. We will see you then. Have a great weekend.
We've shed our terrestrial radio skin, and now we are slimy lizard internet people. It's the Michael Dukes Show.